On a quiet Sunday evening in Paulding, Ohio in November 1960, life moved at a familiar pace. It was a kind of town where families lived for generations, children walked home after a movie without fear, and where a neighbor's streetlight meant you were almost home. That night, a 14-year-old girl and her younger sister were just steps from home when that sense of safety vanished. Beneath the glow of a streetlight in front of a neighbor's house, a violent crime unfolded that would shatter a community and leave unanswered questions for more than 6 decades. What kind of person targets a child so close to home? And how does a crime this brazen remain unsolved for generations? This is the story of Nancy Eagleson. Hello friends, my name is Marcia, and this is Midwest Murders, where we explore the unsolved cases that still haunt America. Paulding, Ohio in 1960 was a small, close-knit rural county seat, home to just under 3,000 residents. It was a place shaped by agriculture, small manufacturing, and local trade. Men worked long hours and women were often homemakers or worked part-time jobs in town. People knew each other and reputations mattered. Law enforcement was personal. Officers were local men, trusted by default. Their authority was rarely questioned. Children were raised to respect adults and obey authority figures. There was little discussion of personal safety or stranger danger, especially as we understand it today. Girls, in particular, were expected to be polite and compliant. Nancy Eagleson was a freshman at Paulding High School. She was petite, standing 4 feet 11 inches tall and weighing just 85 pounds, with shoulder-length brown hair. Like many teenagers, she was proud of the small steps toward independence that she was taking. She had recently used her babysitting money to buy her first pair of high-heel shoes. That Sunday, she wore them with a black and white 2-piece outfit. Nancy came from a hard-working family. Her father, Donald, was an assembler at International Harvester in Fort Wayne and picked up extra shifts at the local bowling alley. Her mother, Betty, worked part-time as a waitress. On Sunday, November 13, 1960, Nancy and her 5-year-old sister Cheryl attended morning church services before heading out around 3:30 p.m. for a double matinee at the movie theater. When the films ended around 7 p.m., they walked to the town square and stopped at Johnson's restaurant for a soda. They briefly considered stopping by the bowling alley to see their father, but decided to head home instead, timing their walk to arrive around the same time their mother would arrive after her shift at another Paulding restaurant. Just before 8 p.m., they were walking along Route 111 near the intersection of Flat Rock Drive and East Jackson Street. They were only feet from home. It was there, under a streetlight and in front of a neighbor's house, that a dark sedan pulled alongside them. A white adult male wearing dark glasses offered the girls a ride. Nancy refused, telling him that they were close to home. When he asked again, she refused a second time, but the man didn't take no for an answer. He got out of his car and forcibly pushed Nancy into the back seat. Cheryl reacted instinctively. She jumped onto the man's back, trying desperately to prevent him from taking her older sister. He shoved her away and sped off with Nancy inside the car. Cheryl's reaction is significant. Children act instinctively. It was raw survival. Cheryl, frightened and crying, ran to the nearby home of John Larson, a neighbor who often babysat the girls. She told him that a big man in a big car had taken Nancy. About 6 hours later at 2:30 a.m., Nancy's fate was discovered. 2 raccoon hunters, Joseph Offrance and Kenneth Nelson, found her beaten body in a wooded area, roughly 7 to 8 miles northeast of Paulding, near Junction. She had been sexually assaulted and shot with a .22 caliber weapon. Cheryl provided a description that became central to the case. She described the man as a white adult male of medium build, wearing what she called church clothes, a tie, overcoat, and fedora. She also remembered black horn-rimmed glasses and rosy cheeks. His vehicle was a dark sedan with a distinctive winged back. Decades later, in 2023, Cheryl was able to help create a composite sketch of the man she saw that night. Investigators collected physical evidence, including blood, hair, and semen. Tragically, sometime in the 1980s, all of that evidence disappeared from the Paulding County Police Department. From the beginning, there were disagreements about who the killer might be. Nancy's family believed she knew her attacker and was killed to prevent identification. They also felt only someone local would have known the seldom-used, secluded lane where her body was found. The sheriff at the time, John Keeler, believed the killer may have been from out of town, or even out of state. Nancy's mother feared something else entirely. She too was petite and closely resembled her daughter. She had recently complained that a motorist seemed to be following her home from work. She believed she may have been the intended target. In 2023, a tip suggested a possible connection to a former Paulding police officer. This man died by suicide in 1987, shortly after being indicted for allegedly abusing another young girl. However, the indictment record no longer exists in Paulding County. The police report documenting his suicide is also missing. These facts do not establish guilt. They do, however, raise troubling questions. The murder devastated Paulding. Parents kept their children inside. Fear replaced comfort. Nearly 500 people crowded into the Church of Christ for Nancy's funeral. She was laid to rest at Live Oak Cemetery. Even during the service, the investigation continued, with law enforcement checking the cars of attendees for bloodstains. For decades, Nancy's family lived without answers, while the town carried the weight of what happened beneath that streetlight. In 2022, a judge approved the exhumation of Nancy's body. A new examination revealed a second bullet wound and recovered the bullet itself. Until then, it had always been believed that she was shot only once. During a remodel of the old Paulding County Jail, one of Nancy's high-heeled shoes was found hidden behind a wall. There are questions about this case that trouble me. Why was Nancy placed in the back seat? If the abduction was rapid and aggressive, why didn't the assailant simply force her into the passenger seat? Could there have been someone else in the back seat that Cheryl didn't see? What led the initial investigation to miss a second bullet? Does this suggest a rushed or incomplete investigation? The disappearance of the blood, hair, and semen samples from the police department is devastating. The connection to a former Paulding police officer is equally troubling. When evidence disappears, be it physical evidence from the crime scene or official county records, it leaves us wondering if these gaps are simply administrative errors or if they point toward a cover-up. Nancy Eagleson was 14 years old, proud of her new shoes and walking home with her little sister on an ordinary Sunday night. Under a streetlight, just feet from home, her life was stolen. More than 60 years later, new discoveries have reopened old wounds and raised new questions. The search for justice for Nancy continues, driven by the inherent tragedy of a young life brutally ended and a community's lingering questions. The truth may still be out there, waiting to be acknowledged. What do you believe is key to solving Nancy's case? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And for those who've asked about supporting the channel beyond watching, we've created a small Midwest Murders shop linked below so that you can carry these stories and reminders with you. But as always, thank you simply for being here and listening. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and may the truth reveal itself in the shadows.